Cornmeal has been used in comfort foods for generations, but when it's transformed into polenta, it becomes an elevated side dish for modern meals. Just like today's dish, my slow and steady beef ragu with polenta. I'm Chef Heidi Fink, and that's what we're cooking on the coast. What is the secret to an amazing ragu? It's patience. Low and slow is the way to go with my beef ragu and polenta. Now, ragu is the star, but polenta is the unsung hero of comfort food. I'm super excited to show you both of these recipes, so let's get started. And in fact, I have already started, as you can see. I'm starting with some short ribs for this ragu. What you're looking for with short ribs is it has nice marbling throughout. That gives it that rich, creamy mouthfeel, and also bones. I tend to cut them into slightly smaller chunks for this recipe just because it makes it go a little quicker. And I've started by browning them on all sides like that. So I've got a hot pan. I'm going to put this one in here. I've already salted them, so you salt them lightly. We're going to brown them on all sides. You can see I have a whole bunch done here. So while these are browning, you can start on the flavor base, which is a base of sauteed onions and other aromatics, and I'm going to show you right now. Let's put this in the sink. Okay, so I've got this large kind of stew pot over here, which I'm going to turn on, and medium-high heat, and we're going to put in a few tablespoons of olive oil. And then we're going to saute some onions in there. We are sizzling. So we're going to saute the onions for a couple of minutes. The other thing I want to talk about the meat is that sometimes it's hard to get enough short ribs. So if that's the case, you can also find boneless short ribs. So I like to use bone-in because the bones give a lot of flavor and body to the ragu, but you can use some boneless as well if you have to. Let's see this one again. That looks nice. Look at the browning on that one. Smells really good in here. Okay, next I want to show you guys how to cut fennel. So the other aromatics that are going in here, I've got some chopped carrot, some chopped fennel, some garlic and herbs. If you don't want to use fennel, you can use celery. But fennel is commonly used in Italian cooking. It gives kind of the same quality as celery to the food, but it's cooler. So I'm going to show you how to use it. Some people are kind of intimidated about this. So you're going to cut it in half like this first, all the way through. Can you see how there's a core in there? We're going to cut that into quarters, and then you're going to cut the core out. And usually you don't use the top. You can use the top if you want to. And I only need about a cup of this, so I'm probably only going to use this one little portion. So now you can see the fennel is in little layers like this. So if you need it to be really pretty, you can take each layer at a time and just, cut little strips and then cut it sideways. For this, it doesn't matter so much because eventually we are going to be pureeing the sauce. So we just need to cut it into small enough pieces so it cooks evenly. And it's pretty easy. I'm going to put it in with my carrots. I think I need just a little bit more. It's sort of about how you want to make it. What I'm doing right now is I'm browning the meat and I'm building all these other aromatics to build layers of flavor in the sauce. But time is really what's going to work the magic. Okay, I'm going to switch these two around. I want the sauce to be closer to me. That one's almost done. Okay, so now our onions have softened and they're starting to go a little bit brown. So now we're going to add our carrots and fennel and saute that for a couple of minutes. And then we've got some other aromatics here that we're going to be putting in. So I have got obviously a whole ton of garlic, 8 cloves of garlic minced up. I also have a tablespoon of chopped fresh rosemary and 2 teaspoons of chopped fresh thyme leaves. And yes, you can use dried for this as well, but I would cut the amounts in half. And then a couple of my secret ingredients. We've got some red wine. I guess that's not that secret. A lot of people put red wine in ragu. Also some anchovies. Okay, so before you say, ew, anchovies add so much umami and flavor to a dish and you won't even know that it's there. They're salty. They're just full of rich flavor. So I'm just going to get my plastic cutting board out for this and a glove, just so that I don't get my wooden cutting board kind of oily and smelling like fish. So I'm just going to pull out one little anchovy fillet. So I like these both raw and cooked. When you cook them, they kind of just disintegrate and dissolve into the sauce. and you would never know that they're there except for the extra flavor that they provide. They're also a secret ingredient in homemade Caesar dressing and a bunch of other things. So let's put this over here. Okay, let's check on my short ribs here. Okay, that looks good. Okay, so you can see here that I have all this beautiful brown short rib, and you can do this ahead of time. I mean, the best thing about this whole recipe is that you can make it ahead of time. I'm gonna be cooking it in the oven, but you can also do this in a slow cooker or in an Instapot, and I'll give you guys instructions on how to do that. So normally I would let that go a bit longer, but I think they've softened up enough right now that I can carry on with this recipe. So another thing that is a great addition is tomato paste. So I like to buy this tomato paste that comes in a tube because you can just leave it in the fridge and just squeeze it out like toothpaste. You don't have to worry about what to do with the whole can. Okay, we're gonna put in our garlic. We're gonna put in our rosemary and thyme and our secret ingredient anchovies that are delicious, I swear. We're gonna saute this for about 30 seconds so everything has a chance to bloom. I love recipes like this. We just keep building layers and layers and layers of flavor. Okay, next, 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. I'm just gonna eyeball. It doesn't matter if it's a little more or a little less. So you might remember the secret from a previous episode where I made a bean soup. The secret is sauteing the tomato paste. It helps get rid of that kind of tinny canned flavor, and it caramelizes the tomato solids and gives a really rich, robust flavor. Oh man, and I can smell it kind of transforming in the pot. It smells like, yeah, like rich roasted tomatoes. Now we're gonna add our 1 cup of red wine. We're gonna add a can of whole tomatoes, which I chopped, and you keep all of the juice. So you can also use diced tomatoes if you want. Then here's another secret, soy sauce. A little bit of soy sauce can really enhance the rich umami flavor. It's especially good in anything with beef. So even like my beef stew, I'll use a little bit of soy sauce. So we're gonna use a tablespoon of soy sauce. You can use gluten-free soy for this, for sure. Okay, and then the last few things, we're obviously gonna add some salt and pepper too. If you're gonna add 2 teaspoons of salt, and then 1 teaspoon of ground black pepper. Then we're gonna add a few bay leaves. Now these are some bay leaves that I dried from my garden because I think that they taste a lot better when you have freshly dried bay leaves. I usually break them in half, whether they're store-bought or fresh, because it helps release more flavor. So the last and final ingredient here is the rind from some Parmesan cheese. So if you don't have any of this kicking around, that's fine, you don't need to use it. But if I have leftover Parmesan cheese rind, I pop it in the freezer in a Ziploc bag, and then when I need it for something like this or like a soup broth, I throw it in there. It adds, again, really rich flavor. Like, you wouldn't believe it. Sometimes I've made a vegetarian soup broth with it and it tastes like chicken broth. So I just add that in there for some extra oomph, but you don't need it if you don't have it. So, okay, so the Parmesan cheese rind will not break down. You'll have to remove it later like the bay leaves. So now that it's at a nice full rolling boil, we're gonna nestle this beef in here. And right now it looks like it's not gonna fit, but it will, trust me. Get it in there, get it in there. By the way, I forgot to tell you how much beef this was. So you can either use 4 pounds of bone-in short ribs, or you can use 3 pounds of boneless, okay? So either way will work because you usually get rid of about 1 pound of bone. So make sure that it's all pushed in there, as you can see, and make sure it comes back up to a boil after you've added the meat. Now I'm gonna cover this with some foil and I'm gonna put it in the oven. Okay, that has to cook at 425 degrees for 20 minutes just to get the heat up really high. Then we're gonna turn it down to 325 and cook it low and slow for 2 to 3 hours. So when we come back, we'll finish the sauce off and I'll show you how to make the polenta, but next we're on the road.
Cooking on the Road is brought to you by Whisk Victoria, the small but mighty kitchen gadget store for every home chef.
We're at Hertels in Port Alberni, and the general manager, Jay, is going to show us around.
Welcome, Heidi. Let me show you around. Hertels Meats been in the island since 1963. We are well known for our bacon and hams and fresh sausages.
Yeah, you are, yeah.
We smoke our products very naturally.
Yeah.
And no preservative, no additives, no MSGs, no artificial flavors
No
or
gluten.
colors, no gluten,
Yeah.
no dairy. And it's all natural maple wood smoke.
Okay. So, and it's all BC pork as well, right?
Yes, we know where our animals are raised.
Yeah,
We
okay.
know where our animals are harvested, and we know what we're feeding our animals. So we monitor pretty much farm to the fork.
Okay, oh, I love it. Farm to fork. So other than the smoked products, you also have fresh products, right? Some fresh sausage, fresh breakfast sausage.
Yes, we are well known for our fresh sausage program,
Yeah.
and I can show you guys where this
I
sausage
would love that.
We still carry our family recipes,
Yeah.
and to the day, so it's 61 years.
Wow.
Same recipes, nothing has been changed. The only thing we change this year, we change our packaging to eliminate 40% of plastic use that we
Okay.
used to do.
So it reduces your carbon footprint, your waste.
Yes.
Okay. So walk me through the sausage making process. You start with the fresh pork, and then there's a machine that puts it in the casing. Is that what happens?
Yes, we use a mixer and grinder to mix it with our spices,
Yeah.
which is in-house made spices.
Yeah.
And then we bring it to the stuffer,
Yeah.
and then we put into the stuffer, then we stuff it through the casing. I think our longest employee is 47 years, I
Right.
believe, and he's still with us. And most of my staff that you see in background,
Yeah.
they're here like 15, 20 years.
Yeah, okay.
So it tells the longevity of the company,
Yes,
and
for sure.
like we treat them as a one big family.
Yeah.
So they are a part of our family.
Yeah.
It's a small community actually inside
Yeah.
this building that lives together and work together.
Right, so it's community-minded, environmentally friendly, all local,
Yeah.
and super delicious, I bet. Do I get a chance to try some?
Yeah, let's go and try it now.
Okay, I love it. Wow, this looks incredible. There's so much stuff. What have you got for me?
This is a mild Italian sausage. This is a bratwurst, and this is our famous breakfast
For
sausage.
breakfast sausage, okay.
And this is a smoked farmer sausage. This is a jalapeno cheddar, and this is a bacon cheddar smoky. And they use our famous bacon.
Okay, that's awesome. Okay, I think I have to try like a fresh sausage and
Smoked
smoked
sausage.
sausage, the cheddar jalapeno.
Yes, cheddar jalapeno.
And then the Italian.
Yeah, that's a mild Italian.
Yeah, mild Italian. Okay. I'm just gonna be like a barbarian and just do that. Oh my God. That's so good. You can taste the garlic and the herbs, and you feel the snap of the natural
Yes.
casing. I'm really excited about this cheddar jalapeno one. I feel like my kids would love this one. That's so good. That fresh jalapeno flavor really comes out. The creaminess of the cheese, the snap of that casing. It's incredible. Thank you so much. This was incredible. It was such a learning experience, a taste experience. And if you guys see any Hertels products in the grocery store, be sure to pick it up. Welcome back. We are making beef short rib ragu with polenta. And I'm gonna talk about the polenta part right now. The ragu is in the oven doing its thing. It's almost ready to go. But let's work on the polenta. So polenta is basically like a savory cornmeal porridge. You can get a couple different types. You can use any type of cornmeal that you find at the store. You know, there's a regular medium grind cornmeal. If you can find polenta grind, this is really, really good because it has a slightly coarser texture. It can absorb a bit more water. It has a really nice corn flavor. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna actually blend it all together. I'm gonna do a half batch because I have a full batch almost ready, because this does take between 30 and 40 minutes to cook. So half a cup of my polenta grind, 2 cups of water. So this is always a pretty solid ratio. It's 4 times the amount of liquid to the amount of cornmeal. And then a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So this one I have double that amount. Then you're gonna whisk it all together while it's cold, and then you're gonna bring it to a boil while whisking most of the time. So right now it kind of looks watery and strange, but it will eventually become this beautiful, creamy, delicious dish. So in a way, yeah, this is kind of like a savory corn porridge, but it's so delicious, and it really pairs so beautifully with a rich ragu. So you could do pasta if you want, but I just like to show people polenta because this is a great gluten-free option. So we're gonna bring that to a boil. And this one here, see how I've switched to a wooden spoon? After about halfway through the cooking time, it's gonna be too thick for a whisk, and then you can just keep stirring it with a wooden spoon. So it's just on a low heat, just simmering slowly until it becomes really thick, and you can stand a spoon up in it. So mine isn't quite ready, almost ready. At the very end, we're gonna stir in some butter, and you can also stir in some cheese if you want. Now, let's get our ragu. see if I can hip check the oven. Okay. This is one that I made earlier that is ready, that I simmered for 2.5 hours. I've already pulled out the short ribs. So what you always do is you rummage around some tongs, take out the short ribs onto a tray, and then you're gonna shred them up. And the other thing you're gonna do is this sauce that's in here, it's really handy if you can puree it because it makes a really smooth sauce to just coat the beef. Let me check on my polenta here. So once it comes to a boil, we're gonna turn it down. We're gonna keep it on medium heat initially, and then as it gets more and more thick, you turn it down to lower and lower. So it should be at a very gentle simmer the whole time. You have to stir it a little bit more in the initial stages and then less as time goes on. So see how it's already thickening up super nicely? Okay, let's get back to our beef. I'm gonna puree this. Here we go. All right. All right, I'm gonna put this on low heat over here. Got that on low heat. Now we're going to tear this up. So you could use forks or you could use a finger. So you always want to just get rid of any fat, gristle, or bones. So when you slow cook something, it starts to dissolve the connective tissues and the meat tears apart easily. The connective tissue actually turns into gelatin as it cooks. So that's what gives everything that really beautiful mouthfeel when you're cooking ragu. That's why having a bone-in meat or a meat that has a lot of connective tissue and fat in it can give just a really delicious result to your stew. If you use a really lean meat, you don't get that same kind of tenderness and rich flavor. But you do want to be careful not to overcook it because then you can't keep it in chunks like this. It kind of just disintegrates into something that I can only describe as dog food. So you've got to hit that sweet spot. So what you're going to do when you're cooking the beef stew, the ragu, is you're going to check it after the 2-hour point, about every 15 minutes. And when with just medium firm pressure with a fork, it will pull apart, then you know it's ready. And I did mention earlier that I was going to talk about how to cook it with a slow cooker or with an Instapot. So you want to do it on low heat for about 6 hours. It does depend a bit on your manufacturer's instructions, so just check your instructions. Okay, I'm going to wash my hands now. This, by the way, smells amazing. Okay, all right, let's look at everything over here. Okay, so this is simmering. Okay, let's get our ragu meat back into here, our short ribs. It's still warm, but we just want to heat it back up. We're going to stir that together. It doesn't really need to simmer or meld flavors or anything because it's been melding for the last 3 hours, but you just want to get it so that the meat is heated up again and it's all coated with this sauce. This smells amazing. And then let's check our polenta over here that I've been neglecting. So normally I have the ragu completely done and in the fridge. I do it a day or two ahead of time and then I make the polenta on the evening that I want to cook it. You can definitely do it on the same day, but I always have the ragu just done and then I can concentrate on the polenta. But it's okay. If it sticks, just stir, stir, stir. So that one's thickening up nicely, but it's going to be probably another half an hour. So luckily I have this second one that's really close to being done. And then we're going to get ready to serve. So the only thing I have to put in this polenta to get it ready to serve is a couple of tablespoons of butter. So remember, this was a bigger batch. This was a cup of polenta, 4 cups of water, half a teaspoon of salt. Now 2 tablespoons. This is unsalted butter. We're just going to stir that in there. This just gives it a bit of richness. I don't like to add anything else, especially if I'm serving it with a stew. The polenta itself should be kind of clean tasting. So we'll just wait till that butter melts and then we'll be ready to serve. So I like to do this in some shallow bowls. For garnish, I've got some freshly grated Parmesan cheese. I'm also going to chop up some fresh Italian parsley here. All right. Now I'm just going to give both of these a little taste, just make sure they don't need any more salt or anything. Let's taste this polenta. Also, I guess I should make sure it's cooked. I love polenta. All right. That is yummy. Just want to get a little bit of meat. Oh, these are going to go so well together. That like tangy kind of umami flavor from the stew and the creamy gentleness of this polenta. All right, let's do it. We've got these nice shallow bowls. We are going to pile some polenta in there. Now this should serve about 4 people, so these are pretty generous portions. It's going to kind of spread it out a little bit. I'm piling it towards one side. Again, just play this how you want, but you know, I like to be fancy. Okay, now we're going to take a ladle. We're going to get some of this ragu. Oh my gosh, so good, you guys. Okay, now we're gonna, sprinkle some Parmesan all over that, and then some parsley. And it's gonna be amazing. Because this is a special occasion meal, I don't make it that often, so I'm super, super excited right now. Okay, there you have it. My beef ragu with creamy polenta.
Pairings are brought to you by Liquor Plus. Discover the plus.
I think rich comfort food like this needs something robust to stand up to the flavor. So I'm excited to see what Cheryl from Liquor Plus has to share with us.
Thank you for having me again, Heidi.
Thank you.
And you say robust?
Yes.
I think we may have nailed it on this one.
Okay, you always nail it though.
Thank you. Sangre de Toro Tempranillo.
Sounds Spanish, am I right?
Oh, it sure is. A Spanish delight, I will have you know.
Okay,
Yes. Tempranillo actually
is that a little
how
bull?
cute is that?
Oh my
I know.
God, I wouldn't take it home.
Toro.
Yeah.
Sangre de Toro actually means blood of the bull.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of fun too. So Tempranillos typically pair really well with robust flavors.
Okay.
I'm curious, and I think, as I say, we may have nailed this one. So let's give this one a
All right.
try.
Okay.
There you are.
Thank you.
Cheers to you.
Cheers to you. Oh, that's really good. It's very fruity.
Ah,
Yeah.
very fruity. Red fruits coming
Yes,
out of that.
yes.
It's soft though,
Yeah,
it's vibrant.
yeah.
It's got lots of flavor to
Yeah.
it. Pairs well with this type of dish, anything that's braised or stewed. You'll also notice that we're drinking out of tumblers.
Yeah, I did notice that. I was like, what's happening?
That's very European.
Yeah,
It
that's
is. It's
true.
a very
Yeah, yeah.
European thing to do, so it's really nice. So I say we give this
That's
a
to give it
try
with
and
the food, yeah.
see how well it goes.
Yeah.
I got a good feeling. Oh.
Is it good?
Oh yeah.
This is one of my favorite dishes
Oh
for
yeah.
sure.
That is delicious.
Try it with the wine. Yeah.
Okay.
That goes really well.
Okay, I'm happy with
Yeah,
that one.
yeah.
I really am. I think that it just really, gives you enough of those soft tannins
Yes.
in there. It's not overly
No.
tannic or overly acidic.
And the kind of round fruitiness really actually pairs well with this.
yeah,
Yeah. Especially.
It's like a warm hug.
Yeah, totally.
That's what it feels like.
Oh man, this tastes so good. Such a great pairing. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thanks again for having me, Heidi.
Oh, I love it. I enjoy it every time.
Thank you.
I would love to see your take on this comfort food meal. Make this polenta and ragu, take a photo and upload it to social media. And tag me. I'm Chef Heidi Fink. The more you learn, the better it tastes. I need another bite.
Yep, I'm back for more hugs.
The words you spin are so good.
Oh. Yeah, I think that this was definitely a hit.
Have you had polenta before?
I love polenta.
Oh, good.
I don't make it like this.
Oh, no.
Mine's like glue.
Oh, the secret is
So
like
what is it?
lots of water and a long cooking time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's the thing.
Lots of water, long
yeah,
cooking
like 4
time.
to 5 times the amount.
Because the
of water.
texture is perfect.
Yeah, creamy?
Yeah, really, really
Oh,
nice.
I'm glad you like it.